Hey there folks, Meteorologist Hunter McCullough here for Northern News Now, plus beyond the forecast on this wonderful Monday afternoon. So as we go into the next couple of days, we've got some winds that are going to be picking up. It's going to become a bit gusty here. Usually in the fall and in the spring, we do see some gusty winds, and this is no exception here as we go into the next couple of days here. So we're expecting to see winds, especially off of Lake Superior, anywhere between 15 to 20 miles per hour. Could be gusting a little bit higher at times. So I thought it might be interesting to go over just what exactly winds are, how they are made here on Earth, and what exactly goes into the winds and forecasting the winds as well, especially in relation to our area. So this first part of this episode is going to be talking more about just what the winds are and how they are created thanks to the sun and a lot of other factors. So without further ado, here you go. Hey there folks, Meteorologist Hunter McCullough here for Northern News Now. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about wind, what causes it, and how it relates to us here in the Northland. So first off, this is a really good description of exactly what causes the wind. Wind is literally because of our pressure changes in the atmosphere, or anywhere really. When you open a pop, this is what we have going on here. So all the pressure wants to do is equal itself. It wants to balance. It wants to be in a state of equilibrium. So if there's an area where there's a pressure higher or lower than another area, well, it's going to try to naturally even it out to where it's all the same pressure. You open that soda can, you start to see the wind, it's actually wind, forming and in an attempt to restore the balance from the differences in the air pressure, because the pressure is higher within that pop can. So that air comes out of the pop can, that'll blow and blow and blow until that pressure is the same. The higher the pressure, though, we do see the stronger the wind. So if we do see that cracking here, you can see the wind is a little bit stronger, thanks to the fact that there's a little bit higher pressure in that can versus in that can, and the wind blows until that pressure is the same as the ambient pressure of the pressure that we have in our atmosphere or in a room or something like that. So it's the pressure difference that causes the wind here. The exact same thing on a global scale, as we've got areas of high pressure, areas of low pressure. What causes pressure? That's a direct impact of the uneven heating of the sun on our Earth here. It's literally the driving force of all our weather, is the sunshine shining on the planet and causing uneven heating. Also, a couple factors, of course, include the pressure gradient force, as well as the Coriolis force, which is the force of the Earth spinning impacting our weather. But the sun is one of the main drivers of why we do see weather. And it causes different types of pressure. Different uneven heating causes these different areas of pressure. And again, this change in pressure causes the wind. So you've got high pressure, you've got low pressure. Air pressure is always trying to reach that state of equilibrium. So the same is true, like I said, on this global scale. If you got a weak area of high pressure, weak area of low pressure, well, you got some weak winds that are going to be moving through in between those areas of change here, usually flowing from high pressure to low pressure. Now we've got some friction at the surface, and as well as what I just mentioned, Coriolis force. So if we didn't have Coriolis force and we didn't have friction from air, we would see winds move directly from high pressure to low pressure. It would move directly from that. But since we have friction from the air molecules on the surface, and we have that Coriolis effect thanks to the Earth spinning, we actually see that wind going a little bit different, a little bit wonky when you see that wind moving instead of moving just from high pressure to low pressure. So that's an interesting fact as well. If we didn't have all that, it would travel directly from high pressure to low pressure. Now, these lines that you are seeing here are called isobars. They're called lines of constant pressure. They're called isobars, and they're lines of constant pressure. So if you travel along that line, the pressure is the exact same all around that line. So what we look for as meteorologists is we look for how close these lines are together. If they're close together, what does that signify? That means that we've got a very strong pressure change, which in turn means that the winds are going to be stronger. If the isobars are more spread out, that means that the pressure change isn't all that great. Winds aren't going to be all that strong. If you have high pressure just sitting right over you or low pressure directly over your head, there's no isobars within there, so winds are relatively calm at the center of these. But you head on out and you have all these various isobars, then you start to see that wind becoming more and more strong. I want to talk about a couple features with the wind as well and how it can impact our weather here. This is called the Chinook winds, and it's famous for around mountains, but it's also true here in the Northland. We don't have mountains, but we've got large hills. We've got some sawtooth mountains up the North Shore, and definitely this is true here in the Northland as well. So when you get air to rise, which it can rise in any number of factors, that's what we're looking at as meteorologists, is air rising. It creates all sorts of weather. But it can rise based on being forced up a mountain. And so you can see this, as that warm, moist air hits the mountain surface, it's forced upward, causes it to condense. We see, usually on one side of a mountain, we'll see cloud coverage where that air is rising. The other side, we'll see clear skies and actually warm winds, and sometimes hot winds that are coming down the mountain. That's called the Chinook winds. If you're on the eastern side of mountain ranges, you get this quite a bit, where you can get a really warm wind coming down the hill. As that air sinks, it is also compressing, and it also pushes downward, and it gets really hot. And we actually see that here in the Northland as well. More so than the air rising and cooling, we do see the air sinking, being forced to go down, and it does warm up. Air naturally cools if it gets risen, and air naturally warms if it sinks. However, if you force the air to go down, such as here in Duluth, which happens quite a bit, you can see that it is actually compressed, and it creates heating. So what happens here, you've got cooler, moist air, air parcels sitting on top of the mountain or the hill. And as we see the winds picking up here out of the west, which is what happens here in the Twin Ports, that air is forced to move down the hill, and it actually compresses it, and it causes more kinetic energy and raises the temperature. That's called compressional heating. You'll hear us talk about that quite a bit when it comes to the forecast here in the Northland. So I'll be talking more about winds in my next video here, but for now, I hope you enjoyed this and found this interesting. Have a great day.